Yes, everybody, how you all doing? It's Ryan here for Rockstars. Hope you all been keeping well so far this year. I feel like it's been a very, very long time since I've been back in the saddle doing a podcast, so it's really good to be back. And today we're joined by someone I've been aware of for a long, long while. Spanish tracks on an old podcast I used to do, all that sort of stuff. Sort of been aware of each other for a long, long while. I believe this is his hat-trick appearance as well on Rockstar/Talk tonight. Everybody, please welcome Mr Ashley Stacey. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Thank you very
Good,
much.
good, mate. Good. It's good to have you on, man. Like I said, we've been aware of each other. I've spun your old tunes loads of times on the old podcast and that, so it's really good to have you on, man. Thank you
Yeah,
for
I
taking
love
the
that.
time.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Nice one. I feel like also it's a really good time to get to talk to you because you're going through quite a transitional period at the moment. Everything's looking really, really exciting, I must say. I think we should probably start the conversation with the announcement of you being now signed to Echo Base Records, mate. How did it come about, and was it an easy decision to make?
Yeah, do you know what? So Echo Base, I've been sort of working with the guys there for a little while. In terms of they first approached me to get me onto some gigs, so like from a more of a sort of promoter side of
Mm.
it, and did some gigs for them. And I think the first one that I did was supporting Dermo of Northside.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went and played that gig, but when they booked me on that, and I thought that's quite a decent booking, like like Northside, and I know a
Mm.
lot of people that do as well. And then in the run up to that as well, the Ross Echo Base goes come up to the social in Soho, which is obviously a train journey away from me. So I went up to meet him,
Mm.
and on the way up, he goes, I'll introduce you to Alan McGee tonight." And I was like, "Oh, what a load of nonsense!
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, you're only the 100th person that said that to me." And I turned up, and the first thing that he did was introduce me to Alan McGee, and I was like, "Oh right, okay." So for once, someone in the music industry that's not a bullshitter,
Yeah.
which is really refreshing. And
Yeah, definitely.
but he's just no, it's just a straight talker, and a just a very nice bloke, and he digs the tunes, which is obviously a very good thing. And we hit it off. I've done a few gigs for him, and then they've obviously him and Will of Marseille started Echo Base, and I feel like the vibe. I've watched it because it from straight away he sort of said like we're starting a label. We're quite keen to have you on board.
Mm.
And I'd had a couple of offers in the past. I'd say one that was a bit of a swerve, one that I got very close to signing, and I sort of took advice from other people that were more sort of like warning me off it. You know what it's
Right.
like.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you get a bit enticed, like
Yeah.
as the artist, you sort of think, oh, I'm a bit, oh, that's quite. You sort of get a bit
Yeah.
like,
We're easily
yeah,
persuaded, mate.
oh, of
We
course.
really are.
Oh, I'm getting some interest, like
Yeah.
yeah, but no, I sort of run it by a few people that are a bit switched on and involved in the scene, and I was like, maybe not, take your time. And then this Echo Base opportunity came about, and I was discussing it. I didn't rush into it, but they communicated well, and we did. And like I say, Ross there is my, he's a friend basically, and we backed and
Mm.
forth, and we sort of discussed our own needs and our own terms and that, and just I took my time, and in the end, I made the decision to go for it. And do you know what? I'm really happy that I did because um, it's been so it's very early days, but
Yeah.
that's what everyone sees. But obviously behind the scene, there's been discussions and stuff, and just I think they're going from strength to strength. They've recently signed Subterranea, who I knew of
Yeah.
before.
They're smashing it at the moment, aren't they? Yeah.
They're
They're really
amazing.
making waves, man. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. They've got some cool young bands on there, and they've got like a quality check for before stuff goes out that,
Mm.
and their standards are pretty high. So yeah, I feel like it was the right decision. I'm going to be honest. I signed in the summer,
Yeah.
but I wasn't ready because I was on a hiatus, so I wasn't ready to announce it. And I said, look, we'll take our time. But
Yeah.
I signed. I had a bottle of champagne when I signed. I sat on it all this time, and now it's. I think even since I signed, the label's gone. from strength to strength. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
I'm really happy with the decision.
Yeah, nice one, mate. I feel like sometimes like doing the way you've done it, like say signed in the summer and then only now sort of getting the ball rolling, sort of thing. That can be good though, because you got that it's all that time to sort of bed in, get to know
Yeah,
each other a bit more in like a working relationship. Obviously, you knew
yeah,
Ross before, but get that working thing going and sort of be like, this is what we want to do. Here's the plan, sort of thing. Gives you more of a
that's right.
planning like stage, you know.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Mm,
And I'll tell you what, like before I had sort of external involvement, I didn't really care about the approach
mm,
to releasing stuff or announcing stuff.
yeah,
I mean, I thought I did, and I would try to be like, oh yeah, buzzing to announce, and all the sort of standard stuff. But in reality, I wasn't really thinking about the stuff that I'm not really that interested in, if I'm honest, like
mm,
social media and stuff like that. It for me, I'm not really interested in it. And the amount of people that sort of say to me, have said to me since I've started recording and releasing music, like you need to be a bit more in tune with it and a bit more switched
yeah,
on. And it sort of like turns me off a little bit because I'm like, I see the negatives in it. I personally, I'm quite good with using it. Like I do use it, and I when I go on there, I see like what I want to see, like
yeah,
music and stuff like gig announcements, stuff like that. So,
yeah, man.
but also just just society in general, social media. I'm like, well, funny enough, before we started recording, you mentioned my a song that I wrote a while back called "We're
Yeah,
All Going Mad," which was
yeah,
about social media, really.
yeah,
I just think it's if it I think it can be a very negative thing, and I think it has a negative impact on a lot of people.
mm,
And like I say, I know how to have a healthy relationship with it, but I think that a lot of people don't, or it's very powerful. And yeah, it's just that side of promotion. I've always been wary of, so it's
yeah,
really helpful for me to have people that now back me up and tell me what to do and how to do it.
yeah, man.
Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
I was gonna say, like, obviously, I like in these podcasts for people who have listened to me before. They obviously know I do my thing as well, so I relate to that massively because social media is like this thing that we're all expected to be an influencer, a content creator, a booking agent, your own manager,
yeah,
like all that, like a
oh
producer in
yeah,
some ways. You know what I mean? You're expected
yeah,
to do
yeah,
all
yeah,
these things, and I feel like social media is that thing that is the biggest out of all of those things that we don't. I feel like the majority of people I talk to who are musicians like yourself don't enjoy that bit. That's the bit that's
no,
like I'm here to write music, man. So
yeah,
like it must be so like so much of a relief, I guess, to have them
yeah.
backing you and like telling you what to do and stuff. You know?
Exactly that. Exactly that. A relief, like the burden of it before, and also like I say, because I've worked with some sort of decent producers in the past, and they know that I'm going to record tunes with them, and then go away and not sort of push them to the extent that they should be pushed.
Mm.
So it's like doing the tunes an injustice in a way.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you are who you are, and if you're not sort of excited about that sort of side of it, then what can you
Yeah,
do?
yeah. I have such a weird relationship with social media. There's days where I'm like, oh, I actually really quite enjoyed making that, and then sometimes, like, oh, God, have I really got to do 4 TikToks in a day? Do do you
Yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
I understand that.
Yeah.
It can be fun, it can be positive, and obviously, me and you wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for social
Very true.
media.
Yeah.
So there's positives to it for sure, but it's just sort of managing it a little bit and being mindful that it does have a negative impact on a lot of people as well. So swings and roundabouts sort of situation, I think.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, mate. We could be here for years talking about social media, man.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a big topic.
It's a very big topic, man.
Yeah,
So going on from Echo Base, obviously you've announced that there's a new release coming up. There's a little bit of a teaser on the socials. Talking of socials,
yeah,
a bit of a teaser that's come out. You described
yeah.
it, I think, as like a sort of bookend to the previous era of Ashley
Yeah.
Stacey. What can you tell us about it, mate?
Yeah, so it's a remix of one of my tracks, "The Morning Sun," and again, this is a great thing about the label. So I well, this is sort of a bit of an announcement, but after this remix, there's more to follow.
Mm,
So I've got some great tunes sort of ready to go. They've been ready for a little while, been waiting for the right time. But Echo Bay sort of said like, when you come back, why not come back with they suggested it. I was like, why don't we get something remix because
Right.
they love Morning Sun. That
Yeah.
was their first introduction to me. That song, they found that online and they were into it. And they know a lot of people, and they was like, let's how would you feel about putting a remix out? And I said, well, funnily enough, I've actually had a couple of my songs remixed in the past,
Mm.
but for various reasons they haven't come out, and
Right.
some of them have been really good, like really good. So there was one of I've got a track called Empty Sky, and it was like a very sort of commercially house tune,
Mm.
that's great, I was ready to put it out, but the producer um, wanted it to be, if it was coming out, to be put out on like a really big like house label, like if you know
Oh,
house
okay.
music,
Right. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Defected and stuff like that.
Mm.
She was very sort of precious about what it came out on, and that prevented it coming out.
Right.
Um, then I had some big DJs remix another song, but they contractually weren't allowed to put it out because they went down a different sort of route in terms of like the style of dance music that they were releasing.
Right.
So I was always quite keen to get a release out, but for some reason or another, they were always
Just never.
getting,
Yeah.
it didn't
It's always
happen.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always something which was quite
Yeah.
mad. But yeah, so then Ross at Echo Base said they have sort of uh, producers, dance producers, remixers sort of in-house on the label, and would I be interested in them remixing one of my
Mm.
songs? And I said, I explained what I just said to you. I said all that, and so basically, in short, I'd be up for it. And he came back at me one day with like a trip hop remix of The Morning Sun, remixed by the Tea Leaves. I don't know if you know the Tea Leaves, but
Right.
I heard this trip hop version of The Morning Sun, and I tell you what, I was like, that's good. Like
Yeah.
it's just it was just very chilled, like trip hop, something that has sort of flown, in and out of my life over the
Mm.
years. Now I think about it, and it's just a vibe, that sort of music, and it really suits this track. And
Yeah.
I played it to a couple of people that I really trust their opinion, and they were the same as me. They were like, that, that's good, man.
Yeah.
So
Like well into it. Yeah, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and then he got this guy Manic Mosquito to do another remix of the remix. So
Right.
Manic Mosquito took the trip hop remix and then did something with that, but made it a bit slightly, I don't know, more upbeat, but slightly more energetic
Mm.
and a bit more baggy,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Stone Rosesy.
Yeah.
And and basically, Echo Bass is sending it to me and asking me to sort of quality check it, and I was like, no, I can. I was like, I like them both. I
Mm.
like the angle on it. They work well together. I like that it's the morning sun. It suits the vibe, and like you said a moment ago, it sort of bookends. I was thinking, because I had a bit of a hiatus, if I come back and the first thing that I come back with is a remix or like a double A side remix,
Yeah.
it kind of it's not just back with a new tune. It's kind of a bookend.
Yeah.
It's like that's the end of the old
That's
chapter,
that
and
done. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
and
get on with like the future sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
that.
So it made sense to me. So
Yeah.
I agreed everything, and again, it's like if it wasn't for the label, I don't think anything like this would have ever actually, whether I wanted it to or not, would have actually
Mm.
happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool, man.
Well, mate, I'm excited to hear it, man. Just from the
Yeah,
little teaser and stuff, mate.
yeah,
It sounds sick, mate. And by the way,
nice
by
one.
how excited you are talking about it, mate, I
Yeah,
already
yeah,
know
yeah,
it's going to be class. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
when is that out? What date?
Oh, I think is it the 21st? What are we now?
I think it was the 21st. I should have wrote that down, really, but
Yeah, I'm gonna check now. This is very unprofessional. Yeah, no,
no,
it's
mate, you're
Friday the 21st.
Friday the 21st.
Next Friday, yeah. Or
Next
I don't know
Friday.
when I
This will
don't know
probably
when
go
this
out
comes
next
out.
week at some point, so hopefully it'll be
Okay, so
before
just in
Friday. So
time.
yeah,
Yeah,
just in time, man. So yeah,
yeah, cool.
if it isn't out already, go do the usuals. I guess it's up for pre-save and all the rest of it. Link in
Yeah,
bio, all that stuff. And then
yeah.
if it is out by the time this podcast go out, go stream it, go listen to it. Yeah, very much looking forward to hearing that, man.
And I want people specifically to listen to the original because
Yeah,
obviously it
yeah.
wouldn't have happened if it weren't for the original.
Yeah, man. The
But
the
yeah,
original's already good enough, mate. So I'm really
yeah, you
excited.
like it, yeah,
Yeah,
nice one.
man.
Yeah, that was Yeah, I like that song, and I think that song sort of opened a few doors for me. Well, it opened this door with Echo Bass. So again, I never literally. I'm just thinking of that now. I didn't even think about that, but it makes sense to start the label with them on that because that's how they know me.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man, big time. I've like, talking about like bookending things and stuff like that. When I was going like back onto your Spotify to check out some of your tunes and that, I've
I
noticed
know
that
what you're
some
going to
of the
say.
releases have gone, and
They
I
have.
was like,
I'm
where have
glad.
they gone?
Do you
Because
know what?
I was like going through old playlists. I was like, I swear he was in this playlist like once.
No,
I know he's not there. I was like,
no,
what's going on? So
that's
I was
nice.
gonna ask, just like, does
Yeah.
that mean we'll see a return of that material in the future? Is it getting redone, or is it just a fact of like that's old me? Like, gonna leave that to one side,
First of
get on with the
all,
new stuff.
it's really nice that you notice, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
That's
anytime,
cool,
man.
man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, right? So though some of those songs may come up again in the same format that they on which they left as
Mm.
B-sides,
Right.
maybe.
Okay.
Because, like I say, there's just to be out in the open. There's an EP of original music, not remixes, to follow at some point this year.
Nice, man.
And there'll be singles before that. So some of those old tracks may come back as B-sides, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have that as an option because
Mm.
I have had a few messages like what you just said, people saying, "I like that song. Where's it gone?" The thing is with those songs is that some of them it depends what ones like we're specifically talking about, but there's a few on there that I recorded myself on my Mac, just me. Not a lead guitarist,
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah.
blagging a solo because I've got sort of 100 takes and all the time in the world, and
I'm
also not.
exactly the same.
Yeah, and also not sound engineer, not a qualified producer or anything like that. So some of those tunes were substandard in terms of the production quality, and also a couple of them I worked with producers who are very talented, but to save money because I was doing it all on my own budget. They didn't have live drums. They
Right.
had programmed drums,
Mm.
and my last EP, which is still on Spotify, Telepathic Love,
Yeah.
was all recorded very professionally and had live drums. So the decision was everything that's all authentic music, all live drums,
Mm.
can stay. Anything that was sort of slightly demo-y, slightly, just not 100% authentic can go.
Mm.
And all right, if we bring it back as a B-side, or, I think some of them songs probably are worthy of re-recording,
Mm.
which may happen in the future. So,
Yeah, man.
maybe give them some more justice,
Yeah,
possibly.
it takes a lot of it takes a lot of bollocks, mate. To be fair, to do that, like, 'cause
Yeah,
I'm like I've had this situation before. I've had these loads of these chats before with people, and it's like I'm probably going to do the same at some point, but I've
okay,
still got emotional attachment. So,
understood.
so like I
Yeah.
can like for you to be on the other side of that and explain why
Yeah.
you've done that is like helped me out massively. So
Do,
thanks.
No, 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 no. I tell you what, you'll feel good when you do it. It's weird
Yeah,
because the label suggested to me to do it, and at first I said, yeah, I might not. And then it was weird. One day I just suddenly clicked and was like, you know what? They need to go. I just
yeah,
suddenly realised they need to go. And I feel good about them being gone,
yeah,
even though maybe not everyone does, but
yeah.
I do. And yeah, at the end of the
I
day,
think people will understand, mate, when they hear the new EP when it comes out and they go,
yeah.
"Ah, that's why." Do you know what I mean? Like, because all this stuff is miles better, sort of thing. Do you know what
Well,
I mean?
did have you heard any?
Well, of the old stuff,
No, of the new.
of the I haven't. No,
Because I don't
no,
know now. It's funny
no.
because
Yeah,
before it was me contacting people and saying, what can we do a podcast, blah blah blah. But now
Mm,
the label are doing it, so I don't know if
yeah.
they sent you snippets or whatever, or
No,
no.
I've heard literally nothing, mate.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but that makes it more intriguing. That's why, like
Yeah,
I kind of like that because then I get to ask more questions. If I'd already
yeah, yeah,
heard
yeah,
it,
yeah,
like, do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So like talking of like emotional attachment and stuff. Obviously, the EP is still up at the moment. What was sort of like the process going into that EP? Because obviously it stayed up, so it must obviously, like you say, that it was authentic, so you wanted to keep it.
Yeah.
I just want to talk a little bit about the EP, mate. Sort
The
of
the pre
how
the previous
the
EP.
previous one, yeah, the previous
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Telepathic Love. Yeah. So it was all recorded at Tile Yard Studios in
Mm.
King's Cross with a producer called Mark Anderson,
Right.
and his his wife Alicia Light plays bass,
Okay.
and she played bass on all the tracks. So we went into that project with the view of like recording some tracks that would really sort of springboard the basically get us some better live gigs
Yeah.
and some better opportunities for the actual gigs. So it wasn't so much a let's make a massive record. Let's we're not going to sort of go overboard on what instruments go on. It was very much guitar, bass, drums, uh, minimal harmonies, some
Yeah.
harmonies, but
Yeah.
mainly all my vocals. My guitarist from my band did come in and play a couple of solos, and he did do some backing vocals. And my drummer, who does the drums on all my tracks, came into the studio. But I worked very closely with Mark at Tile Yard to sort of grow that, but grow it to, like I say, like a live sort of sound.
Yeah, man.
And they were tunes that I knew or I thought that would sound good played live. And we went at it from that angle, and I was really happy with how it turned out. I think it has a professional finish.
Mm.
It was mastered by I think I want to say John Astley is the guy's name, who has mastered tracks by the Rolling Stones, Paul
Oh wow.
McCartney. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
man.
and also this is a good tip for a lot of budding musicians listening. He does a really good rate for unsigned and maybe well, I know you're signed, but sorry,
Mm.
but for
Yeah.
up and coming artists, like he does a good rate for unsigned
Oh
artists,
wow.
like a really good rate. So I had some really good people around me
Mm.
on that project.
Yeah.
The artwork, if you've seen the cover for Telepathic Love, was done by Gareth Halliday, who did Knowles, Who Built the Moon cover.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. As soon
I
as you said that name, I was like, ah, right. Okay. Yeah, it makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
So I'm sort of like, and obviously Noel records over, he records at Toll Yard, so
Mm.
he records over the road, and I've seen him sort of in passing a couple of times,
Yeah.
which is mad. But I was just sort of like suddenly realizing I'm in real good company with this EP, and it
Yeah,
feels
man.
good. And so yeah, that came out, and it did lead to some great gigs and some good opportunities, and I'm really happy with it. And a lot of those songs, well, there's five of them. They
Mm.
will remain in the live sets.
Nice one, man. So obviously going from the first EP that came out in 2023, are you sort of keeping the same setup going forward for obviously the new EP that's coming out?
Yeah, yeah. So it's going to be a very similar setup, all recorded at Tile Yard, again with Mark Anderson and Alicia. But this time we've taken a bit of a sort of slower approach to it. So I was actually made redundant at the beginning of the year last year. So yeah, just over a year ago, and I had quite a bit of time. So Mark knew that and sort of said, look, while you're in this sort of period of not having to work every day, although I was like obviously job hunting and stuff, he
Yeah.
was like, let's take the time to work on some tunes. And funnily enough, I mentioned earlier about having some offers on the table about like label
Yeah.
stuff. I was just about to sign one where I would be recording with the band.
Okay.
Um, but tunes that I'd written, but that we'd been into a rehearsal room and sort of improved together.
Okay.
So I said to Mark, I said, "Look, I'm happy to do that, but I might be about to sign a like a mini record deal. Um, so I don't want to give you like the main songs that I'm working on at the moment." And he said, "Look,
Right.
that's fine." He goes, "How about you just send me over, you know, a load of sort of offcuts or throwaway songs because
Yeah.
I might see something in them." So I
Mm.
was like, "That's really interesting."
Yeah.
So I sent him all these. I must have sent him maybe 20.
Right.
And he listened to them, and he came back and said, "Right, let's work on these ones." And there was one that I really hoped would get picked because I sort of saw potential in it.
Mm.
Um, if we went down an experimental route, and it was so funny as we discussed it more. It turned out because I had the time and he had the time, he really wanted to go down the experimental route with it and
Okay.
take the time and ask me what I wanted to do with it. and without giving away too much, it's one of the tunes is it's not in a standard tuning. It has electric sitar in it, and if there's any sort of influences that are coming through, it's like the Beatles, but when they were in India with the Maharishi or
Yeah,
whatever,
man.
and
Yeah, yeah.
experimenting, and that sort of side comes through in it, and yeah, it was cool just really taking some time and really working on the vocal harmony and not just
Mm.
doing like one harmony, but having, three or four part harmonies on there,
Yeah, man.
and really building these tracks up
Yeah.
to something more experimental than I've done before.
Yeah.
And I think it's paid off. I think it's the best work that I've been involved in, and yeah, like I say, it sort of led to Echo Base. Like I sent, that they're talking with me and saying, "Look, we're thinking about signing." I sent them that, and they listened to it. And it's not just Ross, who I'm quite friendly with. It's Will, obviously of Marseille, who
Yeah.
are an unbelievable band.
Yeah, they are,
And
yeah.
they've got, like I say, they've got this quality check that they need to do. And they listened to that EP, and they was like, "Yes, okay, we want you on board." And I
Yeah,
was
man.
like, I was very proud. I am very proud of it, and yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it coming out. It feels like it's been a long time. I recorded
Mm.
it the beginning of last year,
Yeah.
and by this time I normally have at least one single out,
Yeah.
but I've just been, taking my time and waiting and that, and yeah, it's going to be quite emotional when these tracks start coming out, I think.
I bet, mate. I bet you're going through like a proper cycle. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously having all this material ready to go. It must feel like so exciting to finally be talking about it with people and being
It
like,
is,
it's coming. It's actually
yeah,
coming out. Do you know what I mean? And when
yeah,
it's out, like you say, you're going to be quite emotional about it and stuff.
for
Is
sure.
is there going to be like any sort of like release gigs around that time as well? Like with the
Yeah,
band? Is it still the same band members as
it's
well, by the way?
the
Yeah,
same
completely
band,
the same.
yeah,
Yeah.
the same
Cool.
band, yeah, yeah, yeah. We called ourselves the Morning Sun,
Mm.
but it's so funny because the band used to say to me, we shouldn't do that. There was like the music's been released under your name,
Yeah.
but I used to think, well, yeah, but we are a band, so I didn't like it being under my name. But
Yeah.
they disagreed, and then the label disagreed, and then everyone spoke, and basically we're coming back with it under my name,
Yeah.
which is maybe a bit more straightforward, but it's the same guys. We got back rehearsing earlier on in the year, which was really nice to do, and yeah, they're great guys, and yeah, like I say, that they don't they haven't been involved too much in the writing side in the past, but
Right.
that's more out of just how it's worked out, and
Yeah.
everyone's it's literally I've brought songs to them and we've worked on them and built them up, but they're all very talented and they all know how to write, so that's a sort of something that we can explore more in the future as well. So it's
Yeah,
nice to have
man.
that sort of option as well going
Mm.
forward. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely, mate. It's good to have like that sort of band who are like they're happy for it to just be under your name because that is rare. Like that is such a
yeah,
rare thing because sometimes people feel like ownership on it and stuff, and especially
yeah.
like if they've helped like maybe write their own part in something, they might be like, oh well, I feel a bit of ownership towards that. Let's call
Was
ourselves a band's name. Do you know what I mean? So it's cool that you've
yeah.
got that. You know?
It is my drummer Ben. This is a long story, but the reason I started playing guitar was one of my really good friends, Steve, was in a great band who were signed, funny enough, by Alan McGee
Right.
a long time ago, and he influenced me, but his drummer was Ben, so Ben's
Right.
now drums for me. So Ben's sort of like he's sort of he's been in some really great bands, so that means he's more laid back because he's
Yeah.
just going with the flow. He's played some good gigs, and also he's got some wisdom to sort of pass along to me, which really helps.
Yeah, man.
But they're all talented. Tom on bass is great. James, lead guitarist, yeah, they're talented lads, and we all just at the end of the day like playing music and
Yeah.
playing good gigs, and hopefully I'll bring that opportunity to them to do that, and then we just go out there and have a good time.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm looking forward to hopefully finally getting out and seeing you guys live, man, with the full
Yeah,
band. Like, it'd be really good to actually get
yeah,
there. Talking about, we've obviously spoke about like having a bit of a break and stuff like that. Obviously, like I said before, we went like live on the recording. We don't have to go into it too much, mate, but obviously you did take a hiatus, because of obviously the passing of your mum and stuff like that. How was that whole time? Obviously, don't go into too many details. Obviously, keep it
yeah,
quite, chill
yeah.
if you want. But yeah, I thought it'd
No,
be good
like
to touch on it.
yeah, for sure. No, no, I appreciate that. And like I said to you, didn't I? I was like, feel free to. It's
Mm.
because it's a bit of an elephant in the room, and I think that that's something that I've learned about that situation is that a lot of people don't really know what to say.
Yeah, of
And I've been on the other side of that, with friends that
course.
have
Yeah,
sort of lost people and stuff. It's an awkward situation, but yeah, I lost my mum fucking weirdly enough on my birthday last year, which was wasn't expected. It was
yeah,
out of the blue. Um, so it was obviously very heavy and a sad time. But yeah, and then after that, my heart kind of dropped out of performing.
yeah,
Because I think a lot of people were surprised by that. I think people thought that maybe I would pour more into the music and take some solace from it.
yeah.
But I kind of had the opposite. I was just like, I wanted to be with my family and my friends, and I didn't want to be. I feel like music can be a good form of escapism,
Of course.
and I didn't want to be escaping at that time. And
Yeah,
obviously, everyone's different, but I wanted to be doing the opposite and being present with friends,
of course.
present with family. And I got a lot of solace and a lot of support, and there was a lot of support. I realized how blessed I was, sort of thing. Um, and yeah, I just took a bit of time out, and I didn't know how long that time would be, or what it would look like, or if I'd
Mm.
ever at the time, or if I'd ever come back.
Of
Maybe,
course. Yeah,
even though I'd recorded this EP already,
yeah.
that I've been speaking about, so it would have been a bit of a shame if I didn't. So I had that sort of like to G me up a little bit.
Mm.
But yeah, I took a bit of time, and I'm glad that I did. I needed it.
Yeah.
I needed a bit of a step back from music. I did write a couple of songs in the break.
Mm.
Um, none of none of them's directly about my mum. And again, that's more of a choice because you know it's your mum at the end of the day. It's
Yeah.
like it's weird. Everyone's different, but no songs could sort of do her justice, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Um, I did write a song that maybe at some point might come out that was about because I did one gig and I realised I didn't want to be doing it, and so I wrote a song about performing when you don't want to,
Right. Okay.
which I won't tell you the title of and
Mm.
stuff because it's obviously drenched in metaphor, so it's not so obvious, but
Yeah.
that might come out at some point, and it's quite. I think it's a good song. I've sent it to a few people and they liked it. But that was the cathartic thing for me. Every couple of maybe every month, like just sort of writing a little tune here and there to keep it
Yeah.
ticking over. But yeah, in terms of playing live, I took a break. It ended up being I don't know what was it, like 8 months or so. And bearing in
Mm.
mind, even when I was playing with the band, I was doing sort of covers gigs maybe every week. So for me, it was a
Like
real
shock to
break.
the system. Yeah.
Yeah, and even tonight I went to a local pub and the landlord went, "Hey, when you're doing a gig for me," and even still I'm not quite
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So but it's been nice. It was the right decision, and but it's that was again part of the. It's all part of it, and hopefully now I'm back in the zone and I'm feeling
Yeah,
sort
man.
of re-energized and
Yeah.
ready to go again.
Yeah, man. I feel like you've taken the most mature way of like processing that, like, because like you say, a lot of people would have just gone like head first straight in, gonna do as much as possible, get away from it, sort of thing. But because you've allowed yourself time to process and maybe like even heal and
Yeah,
sort of not get over it, it's not something you'll probably ever get over, but like to come to terms with it a bit more. And i
yeah,
think i think it'll inform like future songwriting, like in the
yeah.
future, I guess, as well.
It has to,
Yeah.
because I think, as you well know, like songwriting is inherent and it comes from what's in you. So
Mm.
without a doubt, it's going to come out in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I've never forced any songwriting at all. I've always let it flow.
Yeah.
And inevitably, and it's mad. I sort of touched on earlier, you can write about or you can think you're writing about one thing, but in actual fact, you're writing about another.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, those feelings will come out. What, like I
Yeah.
say, one way or another.
Yeah, man. Just like I say, let it happen naturally. I can't talk today. What's happening? Let it
Yeah.
happen naturally.
What are you drinking? I saw you drinking something.
Just
What are you
water,
drinking?
mate.
Oh, right. That's
That's the
what's going
bad
wrong.
bit. Yeah.
You need a beer.
Yeah, I probably do, mate. Oh, dear. I'll have a couple after, I think. You've mentioned a couple of times during the conversation that you've sort of got like an inside network of a few people you send tunes to see if like they're digging it, if they think it's like the right direction you're going in and things
Yeah.
like that. How important is that like to you? Because like to me, that is so important to have those few
Yeah.
people you can pull on and be like, is this all right? Like sort of thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes you might experiment with something, be a bit unsure and stuff like that. Is it like the same for you? Is that why you're reaching out to these people just to double check, make sure you're all
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Very much so, and it's also good to know who you're sending it to, because I think I have some people that will just say that it's good when maybe it's not, or and
Yeah.
they might that might not be for any particular reason. It may be because they just like the sort of stuff that you do.
Yeah.
It's good to know who will be a little bit more honest,
Mm.
and just be aware of their reaction. But yeah, I mean, if you send a song to someone that you sort of trust their judgment and they give you an excited reaction that is very natural, then
Mm.
I think you're onto something
Yeah,
and it
definitely.
helps. Um, I'm in a group, like a WhatsApp group
Yeah.
with two musicians. You might know Jackson Lucet, maybe, from Port Talbot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
There's
Yeah, I used to play him on the podcast as well. This is
yeah,
mad.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is such a
yeah.
trip. Yeah.
Shiny Vinyl Promotions,
Yeah, man.
and he's got some great tunes, and he's a lovely bloke, and funnily enough, the last gig that I did last May was with him in the Good Mixer in Camden,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he came across from Wales and we played together, and it was the first time I met him, and I've been friends with him for years, like
Mm.
to the point where we do FaceTimes like till 2 in the morning, like
Right, yeah.
together and stuff
Oh,
like that.
lovely.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like so we've been real good friends, but only virtually. And then I met him finally, and it was really nice. And then another guy, Jamie May, who is one of these guys who. Um, just undersells himself as a musician in a way. He's written some songs that he sent to me, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I wrote that.
Yeah.
And he's never done a gig. He's only ever done open mics. And like he sent to me these songs, and I'm like, I might steal that. No one knows this guy.
Yeah, if you're not going to do
Um,
anything with it, mate, I will. Yeah.
yeah, and that's my favourite sort of
Yeah.
like little WhatsApp group where they're proper musicians, I feel, and they're good to bounce ideas off. They have a tendency to be very polite. I think maybe Jamie less so. He'll sort of be quite honest, but again, there's mutual encouragement, which is
Yeah.
something to be wary of, to a degree, because
Mm.
you need some honesty.
Yeah.
It's funny talking about honesty, but my old man, I don't think he's ever liked one of my originals. So
I feel like that's
that,
such a parent thing, though. That, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
dear.
It goes both ways, you know.
Yeah.
Beware the ones that like it too much, and then beware the ones that don't like
Yeah,
it at
don't.
all.
Yeah. That's so good. Oh, dear. Um, talking of your dad, is there anything funny he's ever said about a tune? Like you've sent him something, has he just completely dismissed one before, or just
Oh,
like is he quite
for
chill
sure.
about
So
it?
so he's bought every CD I've ever released, right? So he's not unsupportive. He
Yeah,
loves every single covers gig I've ever played. He's been there.
yeah,
But the moment I play an original, we'll go to the toilet or go to the bar. And also he quite clearly only knows the name of one of my originals, Palace Pier, because
yeah.
whatever tune I play, say I'm playing and he hears me, or he's at the pub and he goes to the toilet or whatever, and I'm playing a song, and he comes back and goes, "What was that, Palace Pier?" Like no matter what it was. could have been We're All Going Mad, Empty Sky, whatever it is what's that, Palace Pier? But I have other songs, thanks, Dad. Like,
That's brilliant. You gotta love it, mate. You gotta love it. Oh dear. I'm gonna get on to like the last question now, mate. Which is a
yeah,
shame. I've really enjoyed talking to you. When you get
yeah,
that
me
EP
too.
out, mate, and we've got the release date, we'll get back on and do a proper one,
Definitely.
a proper
Yeah.
in-depth dive into like
Okay.
each track sort of thing. If you're up for it,
Yeah.
that'd be
I'm down,
really
mate.
good. Um,
Yeah.
I ask a bit of a silly one at the end. If you could
Okay.
pick three musicians, dead or alive, to have a house party with, who would it be and why? And I say house party. I don't like the dinner party thing. It's too easy. House
House
party.
party.
I
I
feel like
like
you've
that.
got to have someone a bit. You know what I
I like
mean?
that. I
Yeah.
like that twist on it. Um. Okay. I'm currently watching Get Back.
Right.
For the fourth time in full. Right.
I'm on
So
my third, I think.
okay.
We're getting
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm on my fourth watching it with the missus at the moment.
Yeah.
She hadn't seen it, and she's her family love the Beatles, and
Mm,
she likes the Beatles a lot, and I took my son to because the rooftop gig was on at the cinema.
mm,
I took him to see that, and it come up on my Facebook memories. Funny enough, I think it was 2 or 3 years today
mm.
ago. I'm just my immediate, go to of Dead, unfortunately, would be John.
Yeah.
Um, Weirdly, my favourite Beatle is probably Paul.
Yeah.
I know that's not the cool
That's
answer.
not the cool answer, but
Yeah,
the
I
thing,
know.
there was something I see the other day. It's like it's not the cool answer, but it probably should be the right answer.
It's the correct. It is the
It's
correct.
the
It's the
right
correct
answer, right? Do you know what I
answer.
mean? Like if yeah, if you boil it down to everything, that is the right answer.
Yeah, but it's weird though. On the, I think maybe, and I don't know. I've always started to think because, like I say, my mate Steve, who sort of influenced me to play acoustic guitar, he's a massive Lennon fan,
Mm.
and I think I sort of like started my journey into music as like Lennon, and I love him to bits. I love his solo stuff, but I think the moment I started realizing, like, Oh Darling, Helter Skelter,
Yeah,
you know, obviously Let It Be, things like that. And I started realizing, hang on a second, Paul McCartney's like, and then when you start realizing the strength and range of his voice,
yeah.
it's just insane. So I think it was a bit of a discovery for me now, a long time ago, how good Paul was. And I think
Mm.
after that, he became my favorite Beatle. But I'm now like on some weird circle where watching Get Back this time, and maybe because my missus is like looking at John and being like, fuck me, he's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of like, fuck yeah, he is
Yeah,
cool.
he is.
Like,
Yeah.
and now I'm sort of coming back full circle to almost
Yeah.
getting back to John again, and just some of those fur coats that he wears, and I know like Peter would
Yeah.
have their thing to say about it these days. Like I don't know what animals went into the making of some of those jackets, and I don't know, just like yeah, my first answer is going to be John.
Yeah.
He's just like it's just such a groovy dude, and also I'm I was going to say I'm a Yoko fan. I'm not necessarily a Yoko fan of her
Yeah.
music and stuff like that, but I love the love that those two had.
Yeah.
I think I might be in one of the few that like. I know you might look at it like she came in between them or whatever, but I think naturally bands and guys drift apart, and
Yeah.
I just they were there for each other, and that was some pure real love stuff that I think a lot of people should be aspiring to in life.
Big time. Yeah.
And I love what them two had, and yeah, he's magic. So yeah, he's going to be number one.
Yeah.
I'm quickly going to, because this answer is going to be really long. I'm quickly going to put Paul in there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Fair.
why not? Do you know what I mean? Lennon and McCartney.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Do you know what? I'll let you have four. Since you've gone two Beatles, I'll let you have four.
Oh, I was trying to cop out. You're making it hard.
I was like, no, not having that.
Okay, right. I'm going to go with just to move on from the Beatles theme, but stick on the Scouse theme.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Mystic Lee Mathers from the Lars.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Do you know
Um,
what? I've not had Lee Mathers yet. I've not had
have you
Lee Mathers
not?
yet. You're the first
Right.
person to give us a Lee Mathers
Yeah,
shout, which
yeah,
shocks me so
yeah, yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah. How you've not had one yet?
How have I
Yeah.
not had one?
I love the Lars. I've been listening to them a lot again recently. They're just amazing, and I think there's a lot of what's the word, like mystique around them, and there's a lot
Mm,
of yeah, just the fact they only had one album out, and they could have had another one that we know of.
yeah.
Um, and Lee's just bonkers. Like when you hear, you know, the rumors or stories of that they used to tune to the buzzes of fridges and the
Yeah,
hum of the universe and stuff.
yeah, man.
And when you see Lee in interviews, I don't know if you've noticed, but he's always rocking.
Rocking.
So
Yeah,
he talks to interviewers and he's like yeah, and he's like that, and he's just like
yeah,
he's very otherworldly. And obviously, I think he was on Smack and whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Which probably added to that. But his voice was insane. I was lucky
Mm.
enough to see them in 2005.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, the V Festival
Awesome.
around
Oh,
the
maze.
corner.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, bloody hell.
Yeah, and I knew like a lot of people went there just to see There She Goes, and they
Mm.
played that early on, and then everyone cleared out.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
I stayed and watched their set, and it was
yeah,
just amazing.
yeah, man.
So yeah, let's say Lee, and I've got to pick
We
another
could pick it up. I'm
musician.
not letting you have two Beatles. It could be anyone. Do you know what? Since I've said a fourth one, it doesn't have to be a musician. It could be anybody from any walk of life, mate.
Any walk of life. Yeah, but because I'm into my music, it probably would be
Yeah.
another musician.
Mm.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Pete Doherty. I
Yeah.
think just because he's a great songwriter. I've had the privilege to meet him a couple of times. I know a couple of people that know him, and he's always a gentleman. And
Yeah.
again, some of his songs are insane, and I think he'd be good, easy company.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
let's do
nice one,
that.
mate. I couldn't let you go without. We've discovered that we're both Man United fans before we got on today, and I can't let Dan, the Liverpool man, right? I can't let him not let me talk
Ooh.
about it.
They
So
let me
I'm
down on a
gonna.
bet last night against Everton, actually, funny
Yeah.
enough. I would have won 20 quid if it weren't for them.
Did you see the goal? You see Tarkowski's goal there? That was a
Yeah, it
hell of
was
a
a
finish,
great
mate. I was, oh
goal.
my god.
Great goal, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Talking of Man United, where do you see us at the end of the season? That's the
Oh,
big loaded question, but
yeah.
you know,
I don't really know. And I'm starting to not really care that much. So I
yeah,
know that's really bad.
mm,
Um,
it is hard though. I get it.
yeah, I don't know because it was all exciting when Amarin was coming in, and we thought
Yeah,
there might be a like fresh start, and it's not been as fresh as we hoped.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know,
we'll see.
mate.
I'm glad that's the answer I kind of wanted because I'm glad I'm not on my own here. Do you know what I mean?
No, do you know what? You're making me think I should have said Cantona in my dinner party question now. He'd be a
Yeah,
character,
oh,
wouldn't
dude, that'd be class, wouldn't it?
he?
Oh, you wouldn't know what he's going on about half the time, but you know.
No, yeah, that'd make it fun.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Ashley, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Like I say, in the future, when the EP's out, obviously give us a message, get the guys to give us a message, and we'll definitely do this again sometime, man.
Yeah,
It's been
thank you,
an
man. It's
absolute
been a pleasure. Good luck to you and your music and everything.
Oh,
And
thank you, mate.
yeah, like
Thank
I
you.
say, I've been aware of yourself for some time as well. So it's nice to talk to you finally.
Yeah, man, big time, guys. If you if you enjoyed the podcast, give it a like, whatever you're listening to it on, whatever you're watching it on. Like, share it about. Go check Ashley Stacey out on all the socials and all that. Drop him a follow. Watch out for the EP and obviously the remix coming out very, very soon. Get on Echo Bass as well. They're absolutely sound guys doing some absolute bits in the industry. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. And yeah, see you in a bit.
Nice one. Take it easy. Cheers.